Many people think that meditation is boring. How can anybody sit down doing nothing? To many, it is a kind of punishment. And then there are people who go on extended meditation retreats. Some stay for months and even years. Even when they come back, they don't do so because they are bored, but because of a mission that was revealed to them during the meditation. The reason they are able to meditate to such a long extent of time is that there are a lot of things we can do while we are meditating. Early on, we discussed about the various things or places we can go to in our meditation. When we close our eyes, we open the door to a new world. I referred to it as Alice and her Wonderland. It's a secret place, but you don't have to find a closet to get in it. All you need is to be able to sit down and close your eyes. So those people who meditate a lot are not bored because they are able to do certain things inside of them, inside of the spiritual world. Take a look at the diagram. Again, it is divided into two parts: things that we can do in the physical world and things that we can do in the spiritual world. Like in the earlier diagram, what we can do in the spiritual world includes the former list and adds on some extra activities. So when we are meditating, we can use our spiritual eyes, spiritual ears, spiritual taste buds, spiritual touch, spiritual nose, spiritual legs, spiritual hands, and even spiritual brain to do things. So we can smell, eat, taste, see, read, dance, show to others, listen, talk, move. Again, we do that by simply imagining that you have a body of light and you project yourself into a world of your imagination and do all those things that you want to do. It's like creating a movie set for yourself. In fact, you can create anything. You can create a theme park where you can have a roller coaster ride. You can create a movie theater where you can watch a movie. You can create an ocean where you can swim, a sky where you can fly. In the spiritual world, there is no limit to what you can do. There is no restrictions. The only thing that can stop you is your thinking. When you are meditating, you can develop relationships with your imaginary friends. You can sing inside of yourself. You can build buildings. You can dance. Being able to do everything that you do in the physical world while in your meditation is a very important part of unified meditation. Some of you might think that I'm prescribing you methods to become mad or a psycho, but it is nothing as such. We must learn to do all those things in the meditation practice because, as I told you early on, the ultimate test of unified meditation is upon the time of dying or our final ascension. At that time, we will lose our body and we will become the pure soul. So at that time, if you have a connection with your soul senses, then it's very convenient and easy to not be carried away by the wave of your karmas and the cosmic cycle upon death. I know it's a bit difficult concept for you to grasp, but let me explain to you further. So let's say that you are dead. Then let's assume that you believe that there is an afterlife, and what carries over is something called the soul. Most of the time, we lose control after we die. But if you had practiced unified meditation and you had the habit of identifying with your soul body, then using it to do various activities like flying, talking, building, achieving things, then you will not be blown away by the various winds of karma upon your death. It would be like there's a fire in the building, then nobody knows what to do, but somehow, because you have rehearsed hundreds and thousands of times that fire and you know where the exits are, what to do exactly, somehow you are saved from the consumption by the fire. Now, what will happen if you are aware and able to move around upon your death? Then, if you have karma left, you will have a say in what kind of birth you will take. Then, if there is no more karma left for you to burn and you are soul conscious, then you will be able to perform the job of an ascended master. So, you will be like the CEO of the universe. Of course, there will be a group CEO up there, and it wouldn't matter because your role will be defined for your particular area. Now, that sounds so fantastic and unbelievable, but it's a reality. How do I know? I experience it during my meditation. How do I experience it? That's the second benefit of being active in the spiritual world with your spiritual body. So, the first one is that it will help you have awareness after your death. And the second one is that you will be able to connect with the higher energies, ascended masters, and even the cosmic system. Let me illustrate with an example. If you are the boss of an organization and there are two types of people. The first one doesn't know anything about how to use Excel, Words, PowerPoint, or even fix a computer. The second one knows about all those apps, even though they haven't had the ability to use it. They were trained in it. Now you need people to prepare you a presentation, make some reports. Which group would you choose? The first one or the second one? Obviously, you choose the second one. We have to remember that that particular group didn't practice hoping that they will be called by the boss. They just practiced those apps because they enjoyed it, but it came in handy at a particular situation in the organization. And then the first group that was lazy or ignorant about practicing about with these apps didn't do anything wrong. At that time, it was not their job to know those apps. Similarly, in the spiritual world, there are higher forces who don't have a body and mind that seek people with a body and mind like us to do some work for them, like writing a book, writing songs, leading a nation, helping a child grow, building a monument, passing a certain legislature, creating a new technology, advancing knowledge, saving somebody from danger, inspiring some people, educating others. By meditating and moving around in your spiritual body, listening, talking, what happens is that you are able to connect with those higher forces and they are able to communicate with you. At the same time, it can become a two-way process. So this is a way for you to do formidable things beyond normal comprehension. Isn't that a lucrative proposition? So by all means, when you are meditating, try to do all those stuff. At the beginning, it might feel tedious, but later on, it will feel natural. I gave you the two reasons why you should practice it. Some of the things you can do in the spiritual world is you can imagine the person you want to influence and influence them either through words or through your vibrations or your energy. You can even world events manifestation or you can influence them. In your mind, you can make a war stop. Not that it will stop in real, but as I told you about the relationship between the spiritual world and physical worlds, let the photon decide whether it will be a wave or a particle. You can also fly like a bird, like a plane, like a rocket. You can metamorphose in terms of size, weight, and form. You can become the Hulk, Spider-Man, Superman, whatever is your fancy. You can practice telepathy to communicate with some people in your life. Again, let the photon decide. You can travel in time, and most useful activity in meditation is to visualize material success. Again, let the photon decide, meaning that let the universe decide which of the six kinds of realities will be abided in your visualization. Finally, the most interesting part about meditation is that you can create egregores. These are spiritual entities. Some people might associate them as imaginary friends, but they are more than that. They have their own lives, their own personalities. They are like characters of a book. Many writers say that when they create a character for a book, that one takes its own decisions and has its own life. And the only way for the author to stop that character is to kill it. That is in the story. So egregore is something like that. It could be a person, an animal, or a half person, half animal. It could be a god, a demigod. It could be intelligent or stupid. Whatever you fancy, you can create it. Many times the egregore becomes so real that we confuse it with people around us. When we are done with the egregore, that is in the later stages of our meditation, then we have to dissolve it. That is done by ignoring it and stop feeding it with our concern and communications. It will usually get lost without any problem. So do not worry that you created a monster. It's nothing like that. It has its purpose, and once the purpose is served, it will go. If you are very creative, you can create more than one single egregore at a time, but one is enough most of the time. Do not tell your friends about that egregore. They'll think that you have gone mad. It's a personal thing for you. The egregore usually helps you in your meditation and in your lonely period during the meditation. You can do so many activities with the egregore, needless to say. The next thing we do in meditation is to practice being different entities and identities. Now, why would you want to do that? Let me explain. Have you heard the expression getting into the other person's shoe? Well, this is what I'm talking about here, but at an extreme level. In unified meditation, it is very important that we are able to understand everybody and everything. You should not be hateful of anybody or repulsed by anybody. Even the worst of the criminal, you must be able to feel why that person behaved in such a hideous and cruel way. So, in order to do that, in unified meditation, we practice the various identities by becoming other things and other people and trying to feel what it is like to be those identities. You develop the orientation towards not only wearing somebody else's shoe, but living in somebody else's body and mind. And that is so crucial in the evolution of our consciousness. It's so easy to say that you have to be good and become a saint. Well, that's a very long journey. Just by talking good things and preaching goodness won't make you a saint. You have to be able to feel the pain of everybody and even be part of their sins. That's a tough one, right? But unless you are able to get into the skin of the most abominable killer, then you will not become a saint. Then you will ask, why should you try or want to become a saint? Well, that's the epitome of evolution in my point of view. I will talk about it in another book, but it is the opposite of the criminal mind. So imagine a continuum, and on one side you have a criminal mind, and the other side you have the saint. The criminal wants to kill, destroy anything that stands in its way to attain its desires. On the other extreme, the saint is willing to give up anything, even his own body, to help other sentient beings, ignoring his own desires. Being a saint is a great feeling. It's a constant state of bliss when nothing disturbs you, and nothing can make you repulsed, and you understand everybody because you have seen the whole picture of why people did a certain thing and why didn't do this another thing. Then how can you ever be miserable? This global view and ability to feel totally is the greatest reward of sainthood. A saint is in no way miserable, as we might attribute him because he is taking up the pain of other people. No, it's just that he understands where they are coming from, and that understanding can go back to several lifetimes back, and a universal causational mechanism. You are familiar with the metasoul because I talked to you about it earlier. It has its hands, legs, mouth, eyes everywhere in the infinite number of people and individuals. Well, being a saint, you are in that level, and your presence is everywhere. You are everything, and everything is in you. Nothing disrupts you because you know that everything is part of the story of the universe. It is this grand understanding that fills you with infinite joy. So, in order to attain that sainthood, you need to practice being different identities while you are meditating. Again, taking a reference at the diagram, when you are meditating, you can think of yourself as one gender instead of another that you are. Try to feel the sensation of that gender at the physical, mental, social, economic, political level. Same with being a different person ethnically, economically, in terms of body type, social position, and even marital status. Just try to be anybody and everybody. Be open to their sins and pains and sufferings, as well as enjoyments. At the beginning, you might only want to deal with the enjoyment side, the good things about that identity, and it's okay. But later on, seek to understand the negative side, the dark side of each of those identities. However, remember not to be absorbed in any of the identities, and after your meditation, come back to your own self. Detachment is very important when you are practicing this being in the meditation period. Sometimes your identification might be so strong that you'll carry some after the meditation. Take a shower, if preferable, bowl to be a cold one, and that old identity will be recovered and the new one will be washed away. Even if you do not do so, in a few minutes or half an hour, the identity that you absorbed yourself in the meditation will slowly vanish. So do not worry. Many times we are jealous of superstars. We wish we had their lives. Well, in your meditation, you can become them and live that extravagance. Again, this is possible because our soul senses are as real as our physical senses. You just need some practice. That is the essence of unified meditation. As you can see in the diagram, in the spiritual world, You can also identify yourself with inanimate objects like a tree or a rock, and nowadays even some electronic gadgets. You would attribute human qualities to these non-living objects, but it wouldn't really apply. Still, there is no harm done. This helps you to extend your capacity to identify yourself with anything. You can also identify yourself with animals. It could be the stray dog in your neighborhood, or it could be a tiger you saw on Discovery Channel. It could be a fly that you just killed. Just identify yourself with their lives. You can also identify yourself with non humans entities like angels, demons, gods. Again, you have to take reference of the religious stories and fantasy stories that we read. Everything is a fiction, but it's a good practice to identify ourselves with them. Finally, you can identify yourself with any human being who is living or dead. You might assume certain things about them, or have read something about them, or heard something about them. Just try to identify yourself with those qualities and live their lives in your meditation. All those practices of identification might seem dull to you at this point, but I'll share to you a story in the Hindu mythology about a yogi called Shankaracharya. I will tell the story very briefly because it's the gist that I want you to learn rather than the facts of the myth. So, Shankaracharya had gotten fame all across the Indian subcontinent, and he was invited to debate with a certain Pandit or knower of the scriptures. As the two were debating, Shankaracharya was winning the debate. He was known to win with his sound and irrefutable logic. As he was about to leave the debate, the wife of the Pandit asked him about married life, especially sex life. Now, the Shankaracharya was a celibate for life and had not experienced sex or love or married life, so he could not talk anything with regards to the challenges thrown by the wife of the Pandit. Finally, it seemed that Shankaracharya the Great was going to be defeated by a woman. He did not make any pretense. He accepted his ignorance. However, he asked the woman for some time. She asked what for. He replied that he wanted to find out the answer of her questions regarding to sex, marriage, and love. He asked for a week or two. The wife of the Pandit agreed. Then Shankaracharya left the place and he entered a cave. He told his followers not to let anybody in the cave until he comes out after a week. Then he sat in meditation and he identified in his consciousness a king who was about to die. Then he made his soul come out of his body and enter the body of the king who was just about to die. In that other kingdom, everybody had thought the king died, and after some time, they realized that he woke up. However, everybody noticed a glow in that king's face and eyes, which was not the one that they knew, but they couldn't say anything because he was the king. So they allowed him to go back to his normal life. Like all the kings in those times, he had many wives, concubines. So Shankaracharya, now in the body of king, was experiencing sex, love, and married life in its full scale. This went on for a week. Everybody in that palace wondered what happened to the king. He was so radiant, so good, such a good human being, unlike before he had almost died. However, after 1 week, that king died, and the soul of Shankaracharya left the king's body and returned back to its own body, which was, as we know it, in the cave. The followers were still protecting it, and he came out of it. He then went to the Pandit's ashram. Everybody was shocked because he walked with a gait that made him seem very different. Anyways, the debate began again, and it started from where they had left earlier with regards to matters of sex, love, and marriage. And so the wife of the Pandit kept challenging Shankaracharya. However, this time he was prepared because he had direct experience, and he was able to answer the wife of the Pandit. Shankaracharya won that debate too. Now, what I wanted to tell you from this story is that Shankaracharya was able to enter the body of the king and live his life because he had practiced some kind of unified meditation, like I have been teaching you, whereby so what I'm trying to tell you from this story is that Shankaracharya was able to do what he did because he had practiced some kind of unified meditation whereby he identified himself with other beings, and this is this particular skill that enabled him to make use of his power at the crucial time of the king's death and taking over his body. What you must remember is that without this practice of unified meditation or a similar technique, Shankaracharya could have entered the dead body of the king, but he would not know what to do inside of it. He was able to experience fully the other body because he had the habit of identifying himself with other entities and identities. So, in the end of this particular section, I want to tell you that all the things that I have been teaching you might sound a bit weird and illogical, but they all serve a grand purpose. Not that you are supposed to leave your body and enter somebody's body to win a debate, but you never know when this kind of skill will come in handy for you, isn't it?